Hello, this is Colton Cox, and you've reached the Hot Wax Hotline.
Hello, everybody. I'm Colton Cox, and welcome back to the Hot Wax Hotline, the show that airs kind of whenever we want it to and is wildly inconsistent. But we're going to have a good time today. I've got a really great guest. I don't know that she's really prepared for how much I'm going to fangirl over her today, but I have today with me a very talented young lady from here in Kansas City who does all sorts of different stuff here in Kansas City, and I'm very excited to have her on the show today. So I'd like to introduce Miki P. There she is. So yeah, Miki and I don't know each other super well, but we played 2 shows together now, and I think we get along pretty well, in my opinion.
Good vibes.
But yeah, wanted to have her on the show today because I think she does some really cool stuff and is involved in a lot of different things in KC, and yeah. So I'm just going to get right into it. We're going to start with a segment I like to call Hard Pressed. So basically, I'm going to ask you basically 2 choice questions, and you just pick whichever one you prefer. I might ask you why you chose that one. I might not, okay. Depending on how interesting it is. But I try to cater them to the person that I ask the questions to. So
cool.
Here we go. All right, first one. This will be a hard one for you.
Okay.
Stevie Nicks or Alanis Morissette?
Okay, so I have to choose one.
You have to choose one. And I literally looked at your EPK to find out.
Oh. Okay. I love both of them, but Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, I figured that would be your answer. Honestly, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know,
predecessor.
Another difficult question for you. This is a David's question.
Okay.
David Bowie or David Byrne?
David Bowie.
I knew that one. Here we go. Howl's Moving Castle or Kiki's Delivery Service?
Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, man, I got to pick harder ones. I feel like you're just going right off the top of your head. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You're like kind of into some fantasy stuff, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
I'm a nerd. I mean, like, I don't go like super hard, but
yeah, I feel you. Well, let me ask you this question then: Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings? Very different shows, but both
very different shows. I've enjoyed both of them, but I would say Lord of the Rings.
Nice. All right. All right. Very last one, and I have no idea if do you play video games at all? What kind of video games do you play?
Like Zelda and
Perfect.
Animal Crossing.
That's my question has to do with. I might actually add another one in here. So, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom?
Breath of the Wild.
Okay. I actually haven't played Tears of the Kingdom yet, so
I have, and I just like the pacing of Breath of the Wild more. Tears of the Kingdom just feels like there's enemies everywhere.
It definitely feels like a lot more like anxiety producing.
Yeah, it's a lot, and the depths are like depression mode 100%. I'm always like rage quit. So
yeah, I feel you. Well, then I'm going to add my question on here because this is what it originally was before I changed it to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Legend of Zelda or Animal Crossing?
Probably Legend of Zelda because like
okay.
Animal Crossing it takes so much time.
It's a lifestyle, really.
Yeah. I restarted my island like 3 times and now I don't even want to play anymore because it's just like I lost everything.
Yeah, I've been playing Legend of Zelda since the Ocarina of Time days.
Yeah.
And then I played a bunch of the Game Boy games and stuff like that, but big Zelda fan.
Yeah.
Big Nintendo in general.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's it. That's hard
cool.
pressed.
I made it.
Yeah. Honestly, I should ask you harder questions, but well, yeah. So at this point, we typically kind of just start, talking about your different projects. And I have a lot of questions for you, but
cool.
First one I want to start out with today is just how you got started out. Give me the story.
Okay. So I grew up in a private Catholic school. So I started in choir in church. and I eventually started playing bongos,
Nice.
like to accompany the choir.
Okay.
And I was like, "Ooh, I found my thing," or whatever, because it was just like no one else was doing that.
Right.
And then our choral director started offering guitar lessons when I was in like 5th grade. So I started doing that, and
you
my
started
parents
really young then. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I find most guitar players that I know started when they were like 13 or 14 usually. So you would have been what, like 9, 10, something like that?
Yeah, is that what you were in 5th grade?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Maybe a little older, somewhere in that
Probably
range.
like 10 or 11. Yeah.
So kind of going off of that, so you started out on drums, right?
Well, bongos.
Okay,
yeah.
bongos. Okay.
And we had a drum set like in my house growing up. My dad loved music.
Okay.
He wasn't like a musician per se, but we listened to everything. And we had a drum set, and I remember like loving it, but I never like, knew what to do with it. And then Rock Band came out.
Ah, yes.
And I was like obsessed with the drums, and it was like my dad set me up with like a legit electronic drum set with like a hi-hat pedal and a cymbal, and if you play that game on expert, it would be like you would have both pedals and like open, close hi-hat.
So what you're telling me is you played it on expert, is it?
Yeah, I did. Like I was probably a much better drummer when I was like 12 because I was playing Rush on expert and like getting 100%.
I miss the days of Rock Band.
I do too.
It's been so long since I've played Rock Band that I don't know anybody that has one anymore.
I don't think it's a thing anymore. It was like a part of our society, and then it was not one day.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rock Band killed Guitar Hero, and I don't
Yeah.
know what killed Rock Band. Maybe the rhythm sticks that they use nowadays.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
light up ones or whatever. Yeah.
Beat Sabers or whatever they're called. I don't know, but yeah, I miss those days.
I do too. I think I was like a much more practiced musician when I was like playing Rock Band.
I wish that the guitar on Rock Band would have been as
Legit.
applicable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. So how many instruments do you play? I know I asked you about this before, and I feel like the number just grows. But
I mean, that I like perform and record with. So I play drums, piano, bass, guitar, and ukulele.
Mm-hmm.
And I sing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I really play anything else, but
okay.
I'm always like up to try.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't branched out into like fiddle or anything like that. Other
I would
strings.
love to. Like I can jam. I can do like a bluegrass jam on stand-up bass.
Sure.
Like any day. But I haven't really like gotten into that world. I've like tried mandolin, and I'm just not there yet.
It's weird.
Yeah,
The
it's
chord
kind of
shapes are
hard.
funky.
Like it takes a lot of like hand strength,
Mhm.
and I've just like been really like focused on guitar and bass really when it comes to like strings. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially from a songwriter standpoint, the only like songwriter I can think of that uses mandolin as their primary instrument is like Chris Teal.
Oh, Chris Ely.
Yeah. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
I
the
love
only one.
him. I've seen him like 3 times.
I only know him from like the Goat Rodeo stuff that
Yeah.
he did with Yo-Yo Ma and all that.
Oh my
but
God, that's incredible.
Yeah, those
stuff.
are really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of related to that same question about the instruments you play, as I've stated previously, you do a lot of stuff in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So what are all of the projects that you currently are in? I know this is a long answer, but
it's really not.
Okay.
I've kind of
backed off a little bit on
yeah,
some of them.
yeah.
That
I've
makes
just
sense.
put more time into kind of like my projects.
Yeah.
But right now, so I play with my boyfriend Howard,
Mm-hmm.
and we just kind of do like an array of things.
Mhm.
So I play acoustic guitar with him. We do like duo shows, or sometimes I play drums with him, or I filled in on bass with him. And then I play bass with Katie Gein and The Drive,
Okay.
which is like a rock band,
Oh, all right.
original music.
Yeah.
And then I just have my solo thing in the Swallowtails at this
Okay.
point.
You were playing with somebody else for a little bit. I think drums, maybe?
Yeah, I played with Stefan.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
I played drums for him for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
And I mean I've
I could have
I've
sworn
played
it was
in a
like Lily Moonflower.
Yeah,
maybe?
Lily
Okay,
B.
okay, yes.
I played drums for her for a couple years.
Okay.
And we might actually like put her solo band back together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
All right.
we've been talking about it, and I'm down. I need more like country bluegrass in my life.
All right,
right now.
because she's doing Moonshroom. That's what it is. Yes. Yeah. I loosely follow what she does, but
yeah.
But yeah. Well, let's get into some of your actual music stuff.
Cool.
So, like I said, I went through your EPK and your website and stuff, just trying to mine whatever information I could from those.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually very surprised. I didn't realize that you had released as much as you have released, which is pretty impressive because I think your website said you started in about like 2018 doing solo stuff.
Solo stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, I mean, tell me a little bit about some of your releases and stuff because I think you have 5, like.
Let me think. I think so.
5 like collections. And
yeah, there's 3 albums, 3 EPs now.
She just
3
doesn't
EPs
remember anymore.
I know. I don't even think I've updated my EPK with this last release. Yeah, so I was in a band in high school.
Okay.
Called American Slim. You can look it up.
All right.
And we released an album. So that was my first experience writing and releasing. And that was kind of right before I went solo. Because, I mean, that was like, we were all like teenagers and then people went off to college and everything. So once that ended, I started my solo thing in 2018 and I released my first album that year. And then I put together the Swallowtails shortly after that. And since we released 2 albums and I've done a couple EPs here and there. So
some singles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, singles too.
Yes,
yeah, I did some singles in 2022 just to kind of like get out of a rut.
Peter Parker is a jam.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard Peter Parker, you look it up.
That is such like a unique song to my songwriting. Like
it is. But I do like it. I was almost trying to put like a Spider-Man question into the hard press, but I couldn't come up with a good one. So. Yeah, no, I think that's crazy to me that you put out that much. I know it probably doesn't seem like that much to you.
Yeah, I'm always like, I just like need to release another one. Like that's how I always feel.
Yeah, I from my own perspective, I've released 2 singles and a single EP as a solo artist, and then Jeff and I released an EP as Afro Jim years ago. But it's 2 EPs and 2 singles. It's kind of pales in comparison to 3 albums and 2 EPs and all that. Not that I'm comparing.
Hey, yeah. I mean, it's like
everybody writes at a different rate.
They do,
they really
yeah.
do.
And that's something I've been thinking about a lot. Is like, my path is the right path, and everybody's got their own. And I tend to compare a lot, and I think it's hard not to on social media.
Oh yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I completely understand. Yeah, I just think it's really cool that you put out that much work in a relatively short period of time. I mean, I know nowadays the expectation is like a new album.
Spotify wants a single every 2 months or whatever.
Well, but if you don't get more than 1,000 streams every month, we're just not going to pay you anything at all. So that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you about your music, and I haven't listened to all of it, so I don't really know for sure. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that you have some like recurring themes in your lyrics and your music, stuff like that? Definitely. Okay. Yeah. What would be some recurring themes in your stuff? So recently, I've been writing a lot about dreams. That's just like a word that keeps appearing, and I do dream a lot. I have like very vivid dreams. I'm so jealous. I don't think I can remember a single dream in the last 10 years. Oh, man. I mean, I think it sometimes is to my detriment because I can't get out of bed. Like, I'll wake up and I'll be like, I need to, like, go back wherever I was. Or sometimes I just feel, like, trapped and I can't wake up. Do you have any, like, lucid dreams or anything like that? I think so. Maybe yeah. So? Well, I would, like, purposely try in high school to lucid dream. Yep. And I would work on it while I was awake to, like, see if I could do it at night. And I've had some that like I'm definitely like making decisions and like very like present in it. And there's others where it's like I'm an observer. Interesting. Like you, I've tried to do it myself and I always felt like it was very taboo amongst my friends. So I was like, I'm trying to do lucid dreaming. I don't know what you think of that. No. Most people are just like, I don't even dream. It's like my small brush with like Wicca and witchcraft. I was like, well, I like magic stuff. This is freaking me out a little bit though. But no. It is a really odd thing. Like, it is. To even just like have dreams. I mean, like the psychology of it is still like so unknown. I'm fascinated by dreams and there's already like a ton of songs about
Dreams. So
Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
By Fleetwood Mac, by the Cranberries.
Not
by
really
Baby
what it's
Carlisle.
about, but
I don't know. I've been writing a lot about grief. I think that's kind of a reoccurring thing for me. I use music as like a way to journal and just kind of
like a therapeutic type of thing.
Yeah. So a lot of my songs are pretty heavy, but I try to make them light with the chords and everything. You know?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think one thing that kind of drew me to you is, I think something we might share kind of in common with lyricism, is I do feel like we kind of tie our own personal lives into our lyrics quite a bit. Not that that's uncommon or anything, but I definitely get a sense in listening to like some of your older stuff versus to newer things that you definitely have a lot of like self-reflection in there and kind of like self-doubt and things like that. I very much identify with those things. So yeah, something I think that you do that I think is really cool is you often make like performance videos to go along with your live performance.
Yeah.
What is your like process of putting those together? Because I just find it really cool that you have found a way to kind of like sync the two things. And I know that's not easy. So tell me about it, please.
I love video.
Sure.
I started like making music videos for my high school band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that became like my thing. So
you really have been doing this for a long time. Okay.
I really have. Like when I think about it, I just don't even know what else I would do with myself. I've always thought like like if I were to like go to school or something, or like go and get a real job, like what do I do? And I'm like, I don't know, like go clean houses. Like I don't know what I would do. Like, but yeah, that kind of became my thing, was like the video side of things and the social media side of things. And I just got like really into like video editing and like making graphics and stuff. So for me, it's kind of hard to think about releasing something without thinking about like the visuals.
Yeah, I mean they definitely
or even just
seem
like video
wrapped up together in your stuff. So
yeah, I kind of make a point. I mean, it's hard to do it with like every song, but I try to make a point with every release to have some kind of video that goes along with it.
I mean, it's quintessential nowadays. I mean, let alone with like, you know, TikTok and everything. But just having video stuff is so important. Yeah.
I like people to like be able to relate by seeing.
Well, yeah. And I think too, you know, you are a very strong video editor in my opinion anyway. So I do think that it really adds a lot to your, not just your music, but just like you were saying, kind of getting to know you as a person. And like, yeah, it's good work. I do a little bit of video stuff. Brandon helps me a lot, but it's a cool thing to see, especially, you know, in reading your EPK and everything, talking about how you have like 50 plus videos on your YouTube channel. And like, that's not easy. Like that's crazy.
A lot. And I mean, it's that many videos over, you know, like 8 years.
Right.
So I try to not be too hard on myself, because like I would love to have a schedule. Like I would love to be releasing something every 2 weeks, but I get into that mindset of like, if I'm going to do this all the time, I feel like the quality of it is going to be diminished because I'm just going to either get burnt out or, you know,
we don't know anything about making a YouTube show that's very inconsistent on release schedule. I feel that I've kind of had my own experiences with music that way of like, you know, I wasn't having a lot of fun with it for a minute. And now I'm kind of starting to feel a little more loose about it, you know?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I'm kind of getting near the end of my interview here, but my two questions I have for you, one will be a little bit harder to answer, I feel like, for you. Do you have a favorite amongst your albums that you've put out? Do you have one that you find yourself like, I really like what I did on this one?
Actually, yeah.
Oh, she does. All right, good.
I am proud of myself for releasing everything, because I look back at some things and I'm like, I sound really young. Like I sound really inexperienced. I sound like I didn't really know what I was doing. But it's also like, but that was me when I was 19. That was me when I was like 22. And I'm glad that I have that. But I look back and my album, Right Where We Are, which is the first Swallowtails album, I think that one just sounds really cohesive. And I think from start to end, it just kind of, there's like something about it. It was like all of our first time in the studio, and we just had like so many friends around, and there's so much love on that album.
I was just about to ask you, do you think Rachel and I don't know how to say their name.
Addie.
Do you think that they had a very big impact on that?
Oh
record?
yeah, huge.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Rachel and Addie, so how we did that album was we did the drums and the bass, and then I was doing like all the scratch tracks with them as they were putting down their parts. So like we would be doing that for the first couple of days. I mean, I think we like laid down almost everything in like 1 week for that album.
Wow.
Except for like the vocals and stuff that came like 6 months later.
Well, and you guys do like 3-part harmonies most of the time, don't you?
It depends.
Okay.
I would like harmonize, and then like Addie would do some harmonizing.
Okay.
At least on that album. And I think I even like sent some stems that I did at home on that album.
Oh, interesting.
Just like some vocal layering. I'm obsessed with harmony.
Yeah.
So we laid it down like that, and then Addie and Rachel were in the tracking room on a piano arranging their cello and bassoon parts.
Wow.
Like while we were doing that. So there was just like so much magic and like creation happening on that album.
I really found the Swallowtails interesting because number one, instrumentation is just so, for those that don't know, it's guitar, bassoon, and cello. Or nowadays, I think it's just guitar and bassoon. But I mean, first of all, how often do you see a bassoon on stage with guitar and all that stuff? And then having the arrangements that you guys come up with are just really interesting. Like
Thank you.
Part of it's, you really use those vocal harmonies to kind of fill out spots where you might have like the full band playing normally if you didn't have vocal harmonies.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting.
It's interesting for me too. I always thought that we would like have a drummer and a full band, but it's harder said than done to put together a band. So I think at some point it's just been
and I think it really helps you guys stand out too. When you go play someplace with the Swallowtails and you've got these kind of unusual instruments up there, playing not unusual songs,
right? Yeah, I'm always just like, hey, we're just songwriters,
right? Like, tell me a little bit about like the making of Lucky Penny, your newest one, because I know you've put like some making of videos and stuff up, but I would love to hear more about it.
So Lucky Penny is the EP that Swallowtails released last month. So Addie left the Swallowtails this last November. So Rachel and I, we just like wanted to write and just kind of like start to find kind of a new whatever direction we were going in. So we spent like all of January and like the first 2 weeks of January just like writing and arranging and recording, and we recorded it all at home. So I engineered it or, whatever, produced it.
Do you most of your own production work or?
Yeah.
Okay. So like your previous EPs and stuff like that, were those all home produced as well?
Don't Lose Your Hope was.
Okay.
And then I finished it off with some friends in their home studio. And then my singles, Your Love and Peter Parker, were like 100% me.
Oh, okay.
Because I am kind of a control freak. But
I mean, if you have the capability to do it yourself,
I just love it.
Why would you not?
It's just fun. It feels like painting or something to me. Like I just want to like make all the colors in the Studio One happen.
Jeff has taught me a lot about recording stuff. I'm still clueless, but it's definitely something I aspire to myself, because I feel like writing and recording your own stuff is really the only way to like get exactly what you want.
I feel the same. Yeah. I love going into the studio. And I plan to do it here soon. Just to kind of not worry about the engineer side of things. Cause I like to just play too. Like I like to just let go of that side of things. But, I love like just being able to do whatever I want, whatever pace I want to, and get exactly like the levels I want on everything. I
find my experience has been, we've worked with some pretty solid producers, not anybody, famous or anything, but I find that even if you really like your producer and you get along really well with them, it's really hard to get exactly what's in your head translated to another person.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you know, we're not the Beatles or anybody that has like millions
George
of dollars.
Martin.
Right. Yeah. Like we can't afford to just hang out in a studio for a week and come up with
Abbey
stuff.
Road, no less.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, so doing stuff at home, we can do those things and not have to have that time crunch pushed on you, you know, like my EP, I think, came out really well, but there's definitely some things that I wish we could have taken a little bit more time on and not be like, okay, well, we booked the studio for today, we need to be done by this time. You know?
Right. I mean, time is money when you're in the studio. And
exactly.
And it can, I've looked back on albums and been like, I didn't execute that, you know, how I probably, or even how I did on the demo.
Right.
You know? And I almost think sometimes my demos are like more of where the heart was, because like there's like the kitchen sink is kind of running a little bit like in the background, you know, but that's like my home and that's like where these songs are being written. And
I'm reminded of this is not a good example because it's a terrible album, but there's a John Frusciante album that he admittedly only made because he needed drug money.
Oh.
But he recorded.
But he made money off of an album. That's
a little bit. But he was like in a just drugged up stupor and made this album that is just the most lo-fi at home sounding recording. It's a fascinating little artifact more than anything, but this would not be that. Yeah, I do find home recording stuff is always really interesting. And like you said, it is kind of where the heart is. Like, you know, you get into a studio and unless you are able to spend all that time fleshing it out, you're probably going to get something that's not quite what you want it to be. But no offense to the producers out there, the local people. You do great work.
I've loved everyone I've worked with.
Yes.
Like Right Where We Are was done like in a studio, and The World Still Spins, and like all my albums were done in studios. So I love both processes, and I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I like to do everything. I don't like to just do like one thing ever. So it's like,
I feel that. There's got to be a little bit of control freak with songwriting. Like, you got to be open enough to accept other people's ideas, but you also have to be like, no, this is mine.
Right. So this last release that the Swallowtails put out, our EP, has definitely been a lot of like releasing that control. And I think that's something I've been trying to do just in my life in general, is just kind of let go of things.
It's so hard. It's so hard to do.
Like, grief is so tremendous and like challenging, but writing with Rachel and like collaborating with her and like us being respectful and considerate of each other's like ideas, that's been like a really awesome journey that we've been on. And I think we're only at the beginning of wherever we're going now. And I'm really excited.
Yeah. And Rachel's great.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's my bestie.
Yeah, I consider myself pretty lucky that I've had basically the same backing band even when I went to do solo stuff. I mean, Jeff has been playing bass for me for like 10 plus years
wow.
now. Yeah.
And that's like, it's so powerful when you're like making music with someone for that long.
Oh yeah. I mean,
like,
we can't stand each other, but
you're like siblings.
No, we are very good friends. Well, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you today, though. I do want to make it clear. We've kind of discussed Miki is not only produces her own work, she also makes her own videos. She plays several different instruments. She's just crazy talented. I'm so happy you could be here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
In our not super creepy basement, but you know, just
hey,
a basement.
There's a disco ball.
There's a disco ball off camera. But yes, just thank you so much for being here today. This has been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed just kind of getting to know how you do things a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I have to admit, I admire the hell out of you,
because
I cannot fathom putting together all those videos, writing all that music, releasing on a regular basis, while also playing in like 4 different groups. And like, just a lot of admiration for you. So we're going to have Miki play a song off of Lucky Penny called Cocoon. And I'm very excited for you guys to hear it. And this has been episode number 7 of the Hot Wax Hotline. And I just want to say, thanks for calling in. And now presenting Miki P and her original song, Cocoon.
just to ease my mind. This last week slipped away. My cocoon, warm and safe. I just wanna see your face. And I know, and I know, and I know it'll never be the same. Gonna get out of my heavy mind. Stop wasting time, wasting away. Save this tragedy for another day. I only wish you'd call me my cocoon. There's plenty